Boulder, Colorado, year 2021. You can turn off the cameras, but you can't turn off what lives within the walls. It was a chilly October evening in Boulder, Colorado, the kind where the wind howls just a bit louder and the shadows seem to stretch just a bit longer. Emily, 29, a freelance graphic designer, had just finished setting up her brand new home security system. Living alone had always made her slightly anxious, and with all the strange stories circulating on the internet, it felt like the right move. Her small two-bedroom house sat on the outskirts of town, close to the foothills, surrounded by dense pine trees that groaned whenever the wind picked up. It was cozy, but eerily quiet. That night, after a late dinner, Emily lounged on the couch, scrolling through her phone. A notification popped up on her screen. Motion detected, living room camera, 2:47 a.m. Her stomach dropped. She wasn't in the living room. She was in bed. Confused, she opened the live feed. The screen was static for a second, then cleared. The living room looked normal, empty. Just the couch, her coffee table, and the bookshelf. Nothing unusual. Probably a glitch. But something felt off. Out of curiosity, she scrubbed back the footage. As the timeline scrolled to 2:47 a.m., the screen froze, just for a moment. And then she saw it. A man, standing, right in the middle of her living room, not moving, not blinking. His head was slightly tilted, his skin unnaturally pale, like stretched porcelain. Eyes hollow, almost black, as if they absorbed light rather than reflected it. Emily gasped, slapped her laptop shut, and stumbled back, nearly knocking over her lamp. Her pulse raced, her breath quick and shallow. No, no, that's impossible, she whispered to herself. Forcing herself to look again, she reopened the feed, rewound, played it frame by frame. At 2:46 a.m., empty. At 2:47 a.m., the man appears. At 2:48 a.m., gone, gone, like he was never there. A sickening realization washed over her. She never heard a single sound. Nothing, no footsteps, no doors. And then her phone buzzed again. Motion detected. Kitchen camera live. Her hand trembled as she clicked the feed. The screen glitched. Lines of static. Then cleared. Nothing. Empty. But just as she sighed in relief, something moved. A faint, shadowy figure, like smoke, drifted past the fridge. So fast, she wasn't even sure it was real. The air in her room grew cold. A chill seeped into her skin, like standing next to an open freezer. Then, a soft knock. Tap, 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 on her bedroom wall. Emily's eyes widened. The camera didn't catch it. This was happening in real time. She grabbed her phone, voice trembling. "Lena, pick up, please pick up." The line rang and rang until motion detected, living room camera, 2:51 a.m. Emily turned to her laptop, slowly, terrified to look, but unable to stop herself. She clicked the feed. The man was back, this time closer, standing near the couch, his head turned slightly toward the camera, as if he knew, as if he was watching her watch him. And then the feed glitched. The lights in her bedroom flickered. A second knock, louder, bang, 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 from the closet inside her bedroom. The banging stopped. For a moment the world stood still. No wind, no cars passing outside, no buzzing from her fridge, just silence. Emily sat frozen on her bed, staring at the closet door. It was closed, perfectly shut, but something about it felt wrong. The air around it seemed heavier, almost like the shadows were thicker in that corner of the room. Her phone vibrated violently in her trembling hand. Another notification. Motion detected, bedroom camera live. Her breath caught in her throat. Bedroom camera. But I don't have one in the bedroom. A cold realization slithered down her spine. She had installed cameras in the living room, kitchen, and backyard, not the bedroom. Her thumb hovered over the notification. A part of her wanted to throw the phone against the wall, but curiosity, or fear, compelled her. She tapped it. The screen glitched, violent static. Then a feed appeared. It was her bedroom, her, right now, a live feed of herself sitting on the bed, staring at the screen, exactly mirroring her current posture. But the camera, it was positioned from inside the closet, from the gap between the doors, watching her. Her mouth went dry, her chest tightened. Then something moved in the feed, a subtle shift, like the closet doors trembled or were breathing. A soft sound followed, whispered like a voice barely forming words. "And I see you." Emily's body jolted. She dropped the phone onto the bed, scrambled backward until her back hit the headboard. The closet handle twitched, just slightly. Then the lights in her bedroom flickered. Once, twice, off, darkness. Her breathing was all she could hear. Quick, ragged, panicked. She fumbled around, grabbing her phone. The screen glowed faintly. She turned the flashlight on. The beam hit the closet door. The wood was slowly cracking, tiny splinters fracturing out from the handle, as if something from the inside was pushing. Crack, tap, 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 and then silence again. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. Another notification. "Motion detected, backyard, live." Her heart skipped. Backyard? She hadn't heard anything outside. She pulled up the feed. The camera flickered, dark shapes moving in the shadows, leaves rustling. The beam of the infrared camera caught something. A figure, pale and humanoid, standing at the tree line, staring at the house. Behind him, another figure, and another, 3, 4, 5 figures standing perfectly still, all facing the house. None of them moved, none blinked, just stared. Then, bang! The closet door jolted, as if someone shoulder-checked it from the inside. Emily let out a scream, grabbed her phone, and bolted out of the bedroom, down the hallway, lights flickering overhead like a strobe. As she passed the living room, her eyes darted to the screen of the wall-mounted tablet linked to her cameras. The feed showed the living room. The man was there again. But this time, he turned his head, slowly, and for the first time smiled. A smile that wasn't human, a mouth that stretched too wide, too wrong. And then he started walking toward the camera. Emily's legs trembled as she sprinted down the hallway. Her breathing was ragged, a mixture of panic and disbelief. Every step echoed like a gunshot in the suffocating silence of the house. She crashed into the front door, grabbed the handle, locked. She fumbled with the deadbolt, and as it wouldn't move, the handle stuck, jammed. Come on, open!" she screamed, yanking with all her strength. Suddenly, a loud thump from behind her. Emily whipped her head back toward the hallway. The light bulb above flickered violently, buzzing, and in the split second of light she saw it. A silhouette, tall, thin, neck tilted unnaturally to one side, standing at the end of the hallway. When the lights flickered off, the darkness swallowed him whole. Then, thump, closer. Another flicker. The silhouette was halfway down the hall. Thump, another step, closer. Emily gasped and bolted toward the kitchen, slamming the door behind her, locking it. She grabbed a chair and wedged it beneath the handle. But the second she turned, she froze. Every cabinet door was open, the drawers, the fridge, the pantry, everything wide open, as if someone had rummaged through the kitchen in total silence. And on the kitchen table, her laptop, still open, the CCTV feed running. She hesitated, then stepped closer to look. The backyard feed. The figures were gone, all of them. No. Where did they go? Her trembling finger clicked to the living room feed. The man, the same man, was now standing just inches from the camera. His pale face filled the screen. Black, empty eyes, that unnatural smile. Unnatural And then, slowly, he raised his hand, pointed toward the kitchen. Emily spun around and her blood ran cold. A reflection in the microwave's metal surface, a figure standing right behind her. She whipped around, nothing. But then, the chair beneath the door handle slid all by itself. The lock clicked open. Bang! The door slammed wide. A freezing wind blew through the kitchen, sending papers flying, cabinet doors swinging. But there was no one there. Only the invisible presence, watching, surrounding, closing in. Her phone buzzed again. Motion detected. Basement camera. Live. Basement? Her mouth dried. I don't have a basement camera. Yet. The feed was there, a grainy, black and white view of old wooden stairs leading down into total darkness. At the bottom of the frame, a shape, a figure crawling slowly up the stairs, limbs contorted, head twitching, a guttural clicking sound coming from the speakers, step by step, coming up. The screen glitched, and the last frame before the feed cut was the figure reaching the top of the stairs, looking directly at the camera, or worse, looking directly at her. Emily's heart pounded in her chest like a drum, her eyes fixed on the basement stairs on her phone screen. The figure was still there, lurking, waiting to ascend. Suddenly, the house grew colder. A deep, unnatural chill wrapped around her like a suffocating blanket. The hairs on her arms stood on end. Behind her she heard it, a creak, slow, deliberate, the sound of an old wooden door swinging open. Her gaze darted to the end of the hallway, the basement door. Once locked, it was now ajar, slightly open, revealing darkness so deep it seemed to swallow the faint light from the hallway. The whisper came next, barely audible but unmistakable. "Come down. We've been waiting." Her breath hitched. She stepped backward, knocking over a lamp that shattered against the floor. The sound echoed through the house. The basement door began to move, inch by inch, slowly opening wider. Emily backed into the kitchen, eyes wide with terror. The whispers grew louder, now surrounding her, coming from every corner of the room. "You can't escape. Not tonight." Her phone vibrated violently in her hand. A new notification. Motion detected. Living room live. She raised the device, her hands trembling. The screen showed the living room, empty, silent. But then, a shadow flickered. The man, the pale figure, standing just beyond the edge of the camera's view, watching. Then, without warning, he disappeared. Suddenly, the lights went out. Pitch black. The only sound was Emily's ragged breathing and the creaking basement door. The darkness wrapped around Emily like a suffocating shroud. Her phone screen was the only light source now, casting ghostly shadows on the walls. Her fingers trembled as she tapped the flashlight app, illuminating the room with a cold, pale glow. Every corner was still, yet she felt eyes, unseen, watching. A soft whisper came from behind her, chilling her to the bone. "You can't hide." She spun around, but the kitchen was empty. The chair she had wedged beneath the door handle was now lying on the floor, as if someone, or something, had pushed it aside. Her heart hammered louder with each breath. Suddenly, the phone vibrated again. Another alert. Motion detected. Upstairs hallway. Live. Emily's gaze locked on the screen. The hallway was empty. For now. But then, slowly, a shadow moved at the far end. It was the man, his head cocked unnaturally, black eyes staring right at the camera. The lights flickered violently. A sudden loud thump echoed from upstairs. Footsteps, slow, heavy, approaching. Emily backed towards the basement door, her hands shaking as she gripped the handle. The whispers grew louder, filling the room. "Come join us?" Her phone's screen flickered, and the feed switched by itself to a new camera she didn't know existed. The attic. A dim view showed old, dusty furniture, and in the corner, the faint outline of a figure. It was watching, waiting. Emily's breath caught in her throat. The attic door upstairs, it creaked open. Emily's eyes were glued to her phone screen, watching the grainy attic feed. The figure remained still, its shape blurred but unmistakably there. Suddenly, the lights flickered back on, the harsh kitchen fluorescence buzzing overhead. For a brief moment, Emily thought she was safe. Then, from upstairs, a soft creaking began. Step by step, the attic door slowly swung wider, revealing the dark hallway beyond. Emily's phone buzzed again, this time with a chilling message typed out on the CCTV system's chat interface. "You shouldn't be here." Her blood ran cold. How could someone or something be typing? Who was watching her? Suddenly, the laptop on the kitchen table shut itself. Emily's breath hitched as the temperature in the room dropped drastically. A cold mist began to seep from the basement door crack, crawling across the floor toward her feet. The whispers returned, louder and more urgent. "Join us. It's not too late." Emily spun around, desperate for an escape. Her eyes caught the basement stairs, open now, inviting her down into the black abyss. She swallowed hard, hands shaking. The attic door slammed shut above with a deafening bang, and the house fell silent. Too silent. Emily's heart raced as silence swallowed the house. The sudden quiet was more terrifying than any noise. Her eyes darted to the basement stairs, still yawning wide, tempting her to descend. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again. A new notification. Motion detected. Living room. Live. With trembling fingers, she raised the phone. The screen showed the living room, empty at first. But then a figure appeared slowly from the shadows. The pale man, standing perfectly still, his dark eyes fixed on the camera. Emily gasped, dropping the phone. The screen went black. In the dark room, she felt breath on her neck. Whispers echoed softly. "We're always watching." Frozen in place, she dared not turn around. Suddenly, the lights flickered on. Her friends burst through the front door. Mark, Lisa, and Jake, worried sick. "We got your texts. What's going on?" Emily felt tears stream down her face. She was not alone anymore. With her friends by her side, Emily's fear didn't vanish. It grew sharper. They gathered around the phone, watching the cameras together. The man in the CCTV lingered, silent and haunting. Suddenly, Lisa noticed something. A faint, flickering image on the basement camera. "Wait, isn't that a portrait? It looks old." Mark zoomed in. The portrait showed a stern-faced man, eyes eerily similar to the figure on camera. Jake found an old newspaper clipping buried in the app's files, dated back to 1923. Local man mysteriously vanished from home on Pine Street, Boulder. Emily's stomach twisted. The house was built on what used to be Pine Street, a street that disappeared decades ago, swallowed by development. The figure wasn't just a ghost. It was tied to the house's dark past, trapped between worlds. Suddenly, the basement door slammed open again. A cold wind swept through the room, carrying the faint scent of old wood and damp earth. The whispers returned, urgent and pleading, "Help us! Set us free!" The friends exchanged uneasy glances. Could they break the curse? Or were they about to be trapped forever? Determined to end the nightmare, Emily and her friends grabbed flashlights and cautiously approached the basement door. The air grew thick and cold, every breath visible in the eerie darkness. They stepped down the creaking stairs, the walls closing in around them. Whispers echoed, circling like a storm, words indistinct but heavy with sorrow. At the bottom, they found an old, dust-covered chest. Its rusty lock was broken, as if waiting for them. Inside, they uncovered old letters and a faded photograph of the man from the portrait, smiling faintly with a family. Emily read aloud the letters. Stories of regret, loss, and a desperate plea for peace. Suddenly, the basement lights flickered once more. The pale figure appeared, no longer menacing, but almost mournful. The whispers softened. "Thank you for remembering us." A warm glow filled the room, and the oppressive chill lifted. The friends ascended the stairs, feeling the house breathe with newfound calm. Outside, dawn was breaking. They had faced the unknown and survived. The first rays of morning light filtered through the windows, casting gentle shadows across the room. Emily, Mark, Lisa, and Jake stood together, exhausted but relieved. The house felt different, lighter, almost welcoming. No more flickering lights, no eerie whispers, no shadowy figures lurking on the cameras. Emily glanced at her phone one last time. The CCTV feed was clear, empty. The man in the CCTV was gone. As they stepped outside, the cool morning air washed away the terror of the night. They knew the house's spirits were finally at rest, freed by their courage and compassion. Emily smiled softly, her voice steady. "We're safe now. We made it through." And with that, they left the house behind, carrying a story of survival, mystery, and hope.